So I would like to talk about the project-based learning course that we run here at Twin. The course takes place over 1 to 2 weeks.
Joan, just to
And
hit present there. Sorry to interrupt. Just to hit present on the slide.
yeah. Sorry. So the course takes place over 1 to 2 weeks, and it's specifically designed for both primary and secondary school teachers who would like to learn about new teaching methodologies, and new applications for those methodologies and teaching pedagogy. So we get teachers typically from Eastern Europe, Czech Republic, Poland, Hungary, Bulgaria, where there would be a more traditional teaching approach. So it opens up their minds and introduces them to other options to implement in their teaching. So it's focused on implementing project-based learning in real classrooms. There is a balanced mix of theory and interactive collaborative workshops and guided planning sessions. There's also a chance to develop collaboration, creativity, communication, and critical thinking, and learning how to build a supportive classroom culture with a coaching mindset. So, in other words, we give them the tools to be able to set up a project-based learning environment in their schools and how they can really encourage students to be autonomous learners and to use their critical thinking skills, such as evaluating, synthesizing, analyzing, collaboration, communicating, etc., and ensuring that students leave school with these skills for life in the workplace. So in terms of content, some of the examples that we go through in the course would be driving questions and designing meaningful projects. So for example, a driving question is a question which cannot be Googleable, and it cannot be really given. It cannot be a satisfactory answer from AI. So it requires students to really do research like they would have to do in university in order to come to a conclusion about this. Also PBL planning, so templates, timelines, and rubrics. So for example, how do we assess project-based learning? It's not like a typical pen and paper test. So we teach these teachers how to implement rubrics that will correctly assess the projects. Also building a classroom culture and scaffolding. So how can we differentiate between student learning? How can we help certain students who might be struggling in the project-based learning environment? And how do we set up the classroom that is conducive to project-based learning? So for example, not having a typical classroom layout, having lots of movement in the classroom, having the projects shown on walls, and having places where they're free to brainstorm and write. So really kind of a free classroom in that sense. Coaching in PBL for student ownership. So again, student autonomy, and of course, collaboration and peer learning strategies, which is geared towards helping students both learn together and to be critical of each other in a positive way. So what do we expect these teachers to conclude the course with? Well, we want them to gain confidence applying project-based learning in any subject or grade, whether it's primary or secondary school, maths, geography, history, etc. We also want to empower educators with practical tools ready for immediate use. These could include digital tools that can be used in project-based learning, in addition to the resources that can be found online. Also improving facilitation skills for teamwork, inquiry, reflection, and feedback. Building a portfolio of project ideas and classroom resources. So giving teachers resources for project ideas, because it can take quite a lot of time to come up with these. So we try to give them as much resources as possible. Expanding international networking with other European educators. So this methodology is obviously gaining momentum, and it's important for teachers across countries to get together and collaborate with it. And finally, professional and personal development.